All right, so tonight's homework is on recognizing logical fallacies. So at the end of this tutorial, you'll understand the 3 different types, which is avoiding the issue, omitting key points, and ignoring other alternatives. To be able to identify these in debates and call the other team out on it is only going to strengthen your side and hope that you get the vote for the win in the end. So let's get started. Again, anytime you see the pencil, please take your notes in your spiral. So a logical fallacy occurs when a person uses incorrect reasoning. He or she says something that doesn't really answer what you said. So there are 3 main types a person can do this or try to avoid or ignore the argument. They can either completely avoid the issue or give an argument but omit like the key points, only focusing on one thing that isn't necessarily that big of a deal. And then finally ignore other alternatives, giving you a reason or a way that you can fix something but not really focusing on the true main issue. So let's kind of go deeper into what these kind of look like. So the first type, avoiding the issue. So I've only really had this happen once before. I might have mentioned this in class or in another video, but I've only really had over the years, as I've done debates in honors or not in honors, one person ever resort to name calling. So if you've ever been in an argument just with friends at the lunch table or something where someone calls you stupid instead of responding to your argument, they're avoiding the issue or the topic. And this is in fact what I said, name calling. And if the other team does this, really call them on it and point it out. Like I said, I've only had this happen once. Last year, I think it was last year, I had someone say, "Yeah, well, you're a weasel." And the rest of us, our mouths dropped open and we just kind of didn't really know what to do. Obviously, it was kind of all in fun and joking, but we definitely don't want to do that in a debate. So it doesn't look good for your team, so don't do it. In the end, it just looks like you lack confidence and don't know how to argue back the appropriate way. So do not resort to name calling. All right, another way to avoid the issue is to use circular reasoning. So this is when someone says the same thing over and over and again, but just maybe slightly changes up their words a little bit. So it'd be like if someone were to say, well, iPods in school should be prohibited because iPods aren't allowed in school. Well, you didn't really say anything just then. You said the exact same thing just in a different way. Prohibited means not to be allowed. So you might sound smart, but you're actually not giving any good argument. And if you could call this up in a debate, if someone says something like this and you say, "Stop your circular reasoning, we need real facts here," I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, that's some high quality stuff that I probably wouldn't even be expecting, and it would really kind of blow the audience away as well as myself. So that would be amazing if you could do that. The last way to avoid the issue is to give reasons that don't actually support the main idea. So this is called evading the issue. So, example, our gym needs to be redone, but our cafeteria isn't that bad. What does the cafeteria have to do with the gym needing to be redone? You notice how you aren't actually saying why the gym needs to be replaced, you're just moving to a different topic. So that's called evading the issue and moving on to something else. So try really hard not to do that. And again, in the debate, if you see the other team doing this, call them on it. And if you have maybe these notes available to you and you search through as you're listening to the other side give rebuttals or even their opening statement, and you find these things, write it down, take a note, call them on it during the rebuttal section. It will only make your team look smarter. All right, moving on to type 2. This is called omitting key points. So when you make an oversimplification, you can kind of leave out some of the other big key points. So you could say, for example, video games are the cause of obesity in kids. Well, you notice how you're leaving out a lot of other things that could be the cause of weight gain, such as eating a lot of junk foods, not getting the proper amount of exercise. I mean, yeah, you could say that the amount of time kids spend on their butts on the couch, playing video games, watching TV, surfing the internet, could lead to obesity, but there's lots of other things out there that are part of it. So you're oversimplifying, and that's not a good thing. And overgeneralization is also really easy to spot because you're going to see them use terms like always or totally or completely or never. So an example might be where you say, My dad never gives me money when I ask to go to the mall with my friends. Really? Really never he gives you anything? I'm not quite sure about that. So that's called an overgeneralization. Neither of these things are good, so try to avoid those in the debate. Okay, moving on to type 3. And there's actually, just for your notes, there's 5 things I'm going to go over for this type, so just be prepared for that. Alright, so when people don't present all the options and just give you an either or choice, or just 2 choices leaving out all other possibilities, this is called the either or, ignoring the other alternatives. So, for example, you either exercise now or you won't exercise ever. Again, really, that's not a good argument. That's not good reasoning skills. You need to find another way to do that, or bring up that idea. Using a slippery slope argument suggests that one thing will lead to something else, when in reality it might not. So, for example, if a teacher lets one kid go to the bathroom, she'll have to let everyone go whenever they want. Notice the one kid going to the bathroom doesn't automatically mean that all kids will get to leave whenever. And sorry, that does say automatically, but my little pencil clip art button is not showing you the rest of it, so sorry about that. But you get the idea. So slippery slope, either or are the first 2 of ignoring the other alternatives. So this is just either giving 2 options, or then the other one, the slippery slope, is one thing will lead to the next, when really that's probably not going to happen. Okay, people can ignore the real cause of something. Giving a false cause is where you say something causes something when it really doesn't. So the iPad fell to the floor because the phone rang. Well, the phone didn't really cause the iPad to fall. Putting it in a position to cause is what caused that. So false cause, we need to be watching out for that. And then also offering a false analogy. My husband is brilliant at these. So this is where you compare 2 things that don't really make sense or shouldn't be compared together. My husband will say these all the time. He's probably one of the worst arguers I've ever heard. He uses false analogies like they're going out of style. And when he does this, I usually always have to say, did you hear what you just said? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So an example of this would be, my husband's super tall. He's like a cow. He eats everything. What? What does one thing have to do with the other? I don't really know. The false analogies are just where you're comparing 2 things and it doesn't end up working. And I think a lot of people try to do this in an argument and just, I think it takes a really quick mind to be able to make an analogy right on the spot. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. In my husband's case, more often than not, it doesn't work. Okay, moving on. False analogy. Okay, so when you use an expert to prove your point, but the expert isn't really an expert in that topic, this is called a false authority. So you would say something like, childhood obesity is killing our population, said Dudley Dumbhead, PhD in education. While this person might have a PhD and might work with children, a true expert in this field would be like a pediatrician, for example. So just something to think about. Now, I would say, for the most part, in a debate team process, if you come out with a quote like this, it's going to take a really high quality debate team to actually point it out. You could get away with it. I'm not saying you want to or that you should. It's not a good idea to get into the habit of doing that, but it's going to take a really strong opposing team to point out a false authority like this, because they're really going to have to know their stuff and really know their research. If you do get called out on this, it's going to look really bad in your case, but for the other team, it'd be amazing. Okay. So, why would you need to know this? Being able to call out the other team and say something like, stop using circular reasoning. You need to stop avoiding the issue. Our team is right. Biofuel is the wave of the future. Otherwise, you would have better arguments. It's really going to show what team is the most prepared. So just be thinking about that. Knowing all of these types of fallacies and being able to call the other team out. That's the whole purpose of debate, right? Having your own ammo, your own information to shoot the other team down and to win and to prove that your argument is right. So this is just another kind of tool in your toolbox on how to beat the other side. Okay, so don't forget, that's going to be the end for our notes tonight. Don't forget to turn in the digital portion of your WISC, and I'll check your notes in class tomorrow. Thanks, guys.